Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, my dear students, with our English classes. I know that many of you suffer from a problem with reading comprehension, especially in your final exams. And many of you have asked me to give a presentation, to make a video for how to deal with reading comprehension in your final exams. So if you are interested and if you suffer from this problem, today's video will be very important for you. Okay, so let's begin. Reading tips, strategies, and comprehension. Okay, today in this video we are going to look at some great tips and strategies to help you understand reading comprehension and answer questions. So let's begin with this question. Retention. My question is, how do I remember everything I have read? Many of you may ask us this question. How can I comprehend? How can I understand? How can I remember everything I have read? My answer is a surprise for you. You can't. You don't. You don't need to retain or to remember everything you have read, because you can't remember everything you have read. Even in our mother tongue, we are unable to remember everything we have read or everything we have listened to. So the answer is you don't. Because reading is not about remembering what you have read or what each paragraph contains. Okay? So don't think like this. Don't try to remember everything you have read, because this is very difficult. Okay? Another question that's related to comprehension. How can I understand everything in the passage? How can I understand everything in the passage? Do you think that you are able to understand everything in the passage? Of course not. You are unable to understand everything in the passage. You are not required to read and understand everything in the passage. You are not required to do this. You don't have to do this. So take care. These are two important things I prefer to talk about before we begin with our tips. So these are the top 10. These are the top 10 reading tips. So let's begin with tip number 1. Tip number 1, you have firstly to skim. I advise you to skim the passage or the text first. How can I skim? This means you cast your eyes over the passage to get to know the general topic. So you read, you skim the passage quickly, just to get the general idea about the passage. What's the passage about? What's this text or reading comprehension about? This is very, very important. How should you spend in this process, in the skimming skill? You can spend between 2 to 3 minutes maximum. 2 to 3 minutes maximum. Don't stop on each word. Don't read each line, each sentence. Just skim quickly to know what's the general idea about this passage. What's it about? Okay, this is very important. This is tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 and tip number 3, you are not aiming to understand. When you skim, you are not aiming to understand. You just want to see what the passage is about before you tackle the questions. All this is related to skimming the passage. Now, tip number 4. What should I do after I skim? What should I do after I skim? After you skim, read the passage. You start to read the passage in details. Read the passage. You go straight to the questions. Okay? So after you skim, you go directly to the questions and start reading the questions. Okay? Now tip number 5. When you read the questions, you have to pay attention to the types of questions. For example, is this type of questions MCQ, multiple choice questions, true-false questions, WH questions, matching headings to paragraphs, and so on. So you have to identify the type of the questions, okay? And you have to remember the techniques and strategies required for each type of these questions, okay? This is tip number 5. Tip number 6. Try to find in the questions, try to find the keywords. Find the keywords in each question. the key information in each question and underline these keywords or highlight them if you are having your exam online. You can highlight, you can underline the keywords and put these keywords in your mind so that it will help you locate the answer. This is very, very important. Number 7, you scan the passage. After you identify the keywords in the questions, you turn back to the passage and scan the passage. Now you are reading for details. You are searching for some specific information. You are reading for just here. So you scan the passage by casting your eyes over the words to locate the key information, the key answers in the questions. Now you found some keywords in the questions. You scan the passage searching for these keywords, but take care. Mostly the keywords that are in the questions are not the same in the passage. They are paraphrased. So you may find their synonyms, an explanation, a definition, an example, but they are not the same. They are paraphrased, so take care. Okay, this is very important. Now tip number 8. You have to learn how to read with speed in order to find or to catch the required information and the keywords that you are searching for. Okay, in order to understand the passage and the sentences. Now tip number 9. Once you locate the place in the passage that contains the answer, you read the sentence before and after to find your answer. So, now I search for some keywords or for their paraphrases in the passage. What should I do? I found it. When you find it, you have to read the sentence before and the sentence after, so that you can make sure that your answer is correct. Okay? Then you move to the last tip. It is tip number 10. In tip number 10, this means you only need to understand those few sentences. Then you move to the next question and do the same. You don't need to understand the whole passage at all. Don't think like this. Don't try to stop on each word. Don't try to stop in each sentence. You don't have to do this. You need to do this. So go on. Just you pick the answer that is required for one question. You turn to the other question and so on. This is very, very important if you want to deal with some reading passages carefully. Okay? Thank you very much. I hope that this presentation was helpful to you. I ask you please to share this video with others so that others can learn from it and you help the others. So don't forget the share, the subscribe, and you like please, in order to encourage us to continue presenting such kinds of useful videos for all learners of English and for all those who are interested in the English language. Thank you very much. Mr. Ahmed was with you. Thanks a lot and see you in our next video. If you have any inquiries, any questions, please, you can write in the comments. Leave a comment please if you have any questions or inquiries. Don't forget to put any questions or inquiries in the comment section so that I can give you any feedback or any help later on. Thank you very much and see you next video. Thank you. Bye bye.